Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to another exciting video on That Park Place. I am your host, Vesh Guy, for today's illustrious ceremonies. Maybe not so illustrious, as we'll get into in a moment, because boy oh boy has Disneyland Resort Entertainment Department been facing all kinds of troubles recently. But to help me with this is the one, the only, Nolan Thunder. Hello there, Nolan. I know you just came off of a That Game Place live stream. How are you feeling this morning?
Disappointed. I mean, I'm excited for the Mario movie, but theme park news, I was a little bit disappointed. They didn't announce any Zelda lands or anything like that. Do you think we might have some good, heartwarming news about theme parks that's going to cheer me up? Right?
Well, if you're a Hong Kong Disneyland visitor, they're tripling down on Marvel. That's really something. Now, unfortunately, I have nothing super uplifting, but I do have a happy ending to this story right here. The internet was ablaze, Nolan, with news that a parade float had caught fire at Disneyland Park. However, I will say, we're going to go ahead and correct the record here on That Park Place, because there have been further developments that paint a clearer picture of what exactly happened on this fateful night over there at Disneyland. So let's go ahead and bring up the initial video. Let's break it down here. This from Disney Scoop Guide. The Little Mermaid float in Paint the Night at Disneyland started smoking tonight, and the parade had to be stopped, and guests were removed from the area. You can see right here what that video actually looked like.
I don't think Bob Ross would call this a happy little accident. I really don't.
No. I don't think Bob Ross would either. It was actually kind of a scary situation, because you had lots of smoke emanating from this parade float, right? And then I think there were fire extinguishers actually used. You have just all this kind of debris, you have all this kind of stuff happening right here. This is in the middle of the hub, folks, not too far away from the actual castle itself. I believe taking place between the hub and I think the Plaza Inn, if I'm not mistaken, was the exact location of this. But you know, to be in the middle of Disneyland and have all this stuff erupting with all these families all being rushed out of this place, you have people with small children. This was kind of a scary thing, I'm sure, for people not quite understanding what was going on. Nolan, your initial reaction to what you're seeing on screen right now.
I already know what it's like for the people there. They're like, man, that's some great effects over there. Disney's really making up the budget right now. Oh God, it's not an effect. Oh no, run. Yeah. But no, you can see in the video here, like, things will, go wrong from time to time. And you see a lot of quick thinking parents, look at this one right here. Like, she's on her phone. Like, she's not too worried about it. They're moving off. There's not pure chaos going. It seems they have things under control. But my bigger question is, why did this happen in the first place?
Yeah, that's the big question, right? So for those unfamiliar, Paint the Night is Disneyland's current nighttime parade. And honestly, it's been a fan favorite for years. I think first debuting in 2016 and then going for an extended run there at Disneyland after actually having it be made for Hong Kong originally, which is really, really interesting. And then it went away for quite some time, and everybody was really excited about getting it back. And it finally did come back for Disneyland's 70th anniversary, which was good. But Disneyland's entertainment department has all sorts of problems. Let's go ahead and examine here what this all is supposed to look like. So this video I actually captured on my last visit here. That's the float in question right there. You can see there's a lot of lights connected to it. It's one of the more impressive units, I will say, in the entire parade itself. And you can see Ariel is on there too. That's going to be an important part of the story for sure.
Or her dad's six-pack abs over there. My goodness.
Hey, King Triton, it works out. He doesn't skip ab day, that's for sure. But it's a very impressive float and all of that. The from what we are hearing here, because a lot of the reporting initially was the float caught fire, it burned down, and it was all this kind of stuff. Fortunately, that doesn't appear to be the case. It appears that because of all those electronics that you actually see, all those effects that you actually see, there might have been some power issues. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, showing a Laughing Place article that breaks it down quite nicely. Let me see if I can get this up. There we go. The Little Mermaid float breaks down with visible smoke during the Paint the Night parade at Disneyland. Smoke occurred after the float was towed off the parade route and into the hub. An unfortunate incident occurred during the Paint the Night parade at Disneyland last night involving the Little Mermaid float. As eyewitness reports reveal, it was not a good night for the Painted Night Parade at Disneyland. The Little Mermaid float had a power issue and broke down while heading through the park from It's a Small World to Main Street, USA. So it breaks down, its lights are disabled because of where it actually broke down on the parade route. Fortunately, it was on the Tomorrowland side of the hub. That's obviously bad. It's not what you want. But thankfully, it was there so that the other floats behind it could actually still make their way through the hub on the Adventureland Frontierland side. Does that make sense? Kind of splits off right there.
Yeah, definitely. You know, like act off and like if there's any chaos going on, as long as it's not like too dangerous or anything, you know, make it so where it doesn't become a bigger issue and backs up everything. You know, that's actually pretty good management to be able to adapt to the situation.
I would agree. And while being towed in the hub area, a complication with the brakes led to visible smoke. Guests and performers were removed from the area while the Disneyland Fire Department addressed the issue. So I want to go ahead and put this back on screen here, and you can actually see the parade float tow at the very front of this float. That's not, you know, designed to be there. The floats are driven and run by their own power usually, but when a float is disabled, that's where that parade tow comes in. And usually they use this when they are transporting these floats from their main storage area.
What's it called? Is it like Ariel's magical truck?
You know, I don't know if it has an official name, Nolan, but it's a tow specifically for these kind of float units right here. And they tried to, you know, hook it up and, you know, we're going to go ahead and proceed. The problem was when they started moving, that's when those brakes were, it looks like, engaged, and that's where the smoke and all that came from. Now, the amount of smoke was from what reports I've seen, and this coming from a lot of these reports coming from Andrea Jessica over there on Twitter. Apparently the whole area smelled like smoke for a while, and they were trying to wash it down in order to minimize that smoke residue. But for the remainder of the night, yeah, it was pretty thick. You can see right here what this looked like when this float was just disabled sitting there, and they were trying to figure out how to actually move it. There was a bunch of live streams. There are live streamers that actually go to the park almost every day and kind of film the entertainment, nighttime entertainment, and so forth. It's kind of interesting. Now, the parade, because it was coming from Small World, which is where, you know, behind those gates is where these floats are stored. The parade has to make its way back, and so there was a second performance that night. It did not include the Little Mermaid float, and you can see right here. Let me see if I can put this on screen. Second parade started 28 minutes late. That's not good. No Peter Pan on the drum, no Monsters Inc. at all, no Ariel section at all, no Cars dancers, no Cowgirls, just Jessie, and an end with Frozen, no Mickey, no Spinners, no Celebrate Happy, and an actual rope. So the second performance of this was really whittled away and whittled down I'm guessing they might have been worried about some of the performers or didn't want them to perform in this circumstance. It just didn't go very, very well at all. But Andrea also says that this parade float has had trouble in the past, which is very, very interesting. So, you know, this was a reoccurring issue for Disneyland Entertainment, it seems, and it all kind of came to a head, which, you know, Nolan, I mean, we have covered here, you know, together, actually, instances where Disneyland Entertainment has suffered, right? In the past week or so, we just lost an entire theater. This, by the way, still hasn't been restored. We're still waiting on an update from Disneyland, according to all of this and what's going to happen here. We just saw a firework actually head down and hit the nearby 5 freeway right there.
Oh my goodness!
Oh yes, absolutely. And Nolan, all of this occurring within the last week. And let's not forget, obviously, the amazing Maleficent Dragon being set ablaze.
Rest in peace.
Oh yes, 2 years ago. That was April of 2023. So this stuff's been going on. This stuff's been happening. And it's like, okay, you have this problematic float. Now it actually shuts down. Now there's smoke. Now there's people running. My feeling about it is Disneyland Entertainment. what is going on? What is happening? This never used to be like this, Nolan. I've been covering the parks for almost my entire life. I've never seen something like this, especially these kind of incidents, one after another, after another, after another. You know, if Small World catches on fire because of an errant, firework that goes off, right? Then it's a big deal. It happens, but we move on, and it's very irregular. But here we have some very destructive instances that take place all one after another, and you just have to wonder what is going on here.
Yeah. Well, the reality is we do live in the social media age where everyone can film everything. There were incidents that happened before that, you might have found out from books and whatever have you that, wasn't common knowledge because not everybody has a smartphone in their hand. But the other flip side of this was, we would know if it was a bigger scale, and they've had a lot of things that are, stuff happens like this one, like the irony of the fish float becoming a fried fish sticks. Like, that's funny to me. It seems like it wasn't anything too crazy to where it was hurt. Cast members not being there. Maybe they need to allocate some people to redirect traffic. I don't know the inner workings on like what protocols or go for like certain actors when like some craziness happens. I'm not a Disney employee. I'm not management. I don't know. So I do understand some shows can be affected by some issues happening. But when you have major things, such as the dragon catching on fire, firework misdirecting, slab falling off of Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, the boat crashes, all this stuff happening one after another within the span of just these past 5 years, you have to start identifying the source like any successful company. And I'm not going to be one of those where it's like, you know what, if Disney makes a mistake, they're terrible, they have no clue what they're doing, because I understand when you do innovation, things go wrong. Anyone who's worked in the film industry will let you know things go wrong all the time, and you have to organize the chaos. I had that happen by myself today, just doing a stream, let alone if I was dealing with pyrotechnic type stuff. I know it's hard, but when you have, some of the best experts you can find in, guest safety is so critical in any type of amusement park space, you need to start asking when this is a reoccurring problem, not just a once in a blue moon, act of God, as they tend to call it in the legal sense. When you have things like this repetition, there is a source, there is a problem to this, and it sucks when you feel like you have to worry about any sort of safety here. I'm not too worried about, the aerial thing. It sounds like it might have been a mistake, but things like the dragon, things like the boat, the slab, the firework, you have to ask, where is the money going instead of here? And if there's not enough money to go around, then it's time to cut some other losses and allocate to that, because any amusement park, theme park you go to, guest safety is always priority number one, because Absolutely. A bad incident can ruin a brand.
Yes, and honestly, Disneyland has been struck by that before. Back in the 1990s, early 2000s, during the Paul Pressler and Cynthia Harris era of the parks, unfortunately, maintenance was whittled down to such a degree that two guests, unfortunately lost their lives because of incompetence at the top, because of the lack of maintenance and because of lack of training. And Disneyland Resort learned from that. So for many years afterwards, especially with the Matt We Met era, it was all about preventative maintenance. It was all about restoration. It was all about, let's go ahead and prevent these things from becoming problems in which people can really seriously get hurt. And unfortunately, what we've seen from Disneyland the past couple of years or so, that I think that mindset has eroded somewhat. And I don't know if it's become because of the massive cultural change at the Disneyland Resort. Again, they've lost. When you have a resort lose basically all of its people, and only half of those come back, and then you have to fill those ranks with basically anybody. That culture is going to shift, those priorities are going to change, and maybe this is a reflection all of that. But I mean, you have light poles falling down. Somebody went to the hospital in that instance right there. You have look, Walt Disney World, right? We've been talking about the ferry boat incident and so forth. The decisions that maybe keep the operating costs down to a certain degree at a certain point do have tangible consequences for both your company and for the guests themselves. And that can't simply be allowed. In this way, Nolan, in this particular instance, fortunately, this has a happy ending. So I was watching a live stream from, Theme Park Steve last night, and guess what? The float was back. This was recorded last night during Theme Park Steve's live stream. That is very, very good to see. I was
quick.
very worried that this float might be out of commission for some time. This is one of the more impressive units, as I was saying before. And Paint the Night isn't the longest parade, so having a parade without this, not good. Go ahead.
Ash, sorry to cut you off there, but like they would never do that. You wouldn't have like a dragon erupt in flames and then it's gone forever and ever. It's still not back.
Yes.
I'm still waiting.
Yeah, we are all still waiting, and I know a lot of people have been waiting for an update there. I can just tell you right now that it's going to be a while, if at all. And that's not the news or what I wanted to hear. But I know they may be having issues on that end that we are absolutely going to talk to at some point here on That Park Place. But I'm hoping the Royal Theater is restored. I'm hoping the Hyperion gets back up. Disneyland Entertainment has been rough. It's been so tough recently, but this is a small win that I think they needed. Anyway, let us know in the comment section down below what you think about this story right here. Much ado about nothing, or is this a harbinger of maybe things to come? Is this a reflection of Disneyland, Disney Entertainment, Disney parks in general? Josh Giamaro, please let us know in the comments section down below. Make sure you check out That Gameplays and Nolan Thunder's personal YouTube channel over there, and make sure you follow That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.